Unlocking whose in non-defining relative clauses. Hello everyone, and welcome back to our English language learning series. In today's lesson, we are delving into a rather interesting area of intermediate grammar. We're talking about non-defining relative clauses, particularly focusing on using whose to indicate possession. This can be a tricky part of English grammar, but with practice, you'll master it in no time. A non-defining relative clause, also known as a non-restrictive relative clause, provides extra information about someone or something, but the sentence would still make complete sense without it. These types of clauses are usually separated from the rest of the sentence by commas. An example would be, Samantha, who is my sister, is an excellent baker. In this sentence, who is my sister, is the non-defining relative clause. It adds extra information, but the sentence would still make sense without it. Samantha is an excellent baker. Moving on to the main topic of today's lesson, we're going to look at how we can use whose in non-defining relative clauses. Whose is a relative pronoun, like who, which, and that, but it is specifically used to show possession. An example of using whose in a non-defining relative clause could be, Tim, whose father is a pilot, has traveled to many different countries. In this sentence, whose father is a pilot, is a non-defining relative clause. It provides extra information about Tim but doesn't change the fact that Tim has traveled to many different countries. Now, let's have some practice with whose. Try to construct sentences using whose to show possession in a non-defining relative clause. Here's an example to get you started. Jessica, whose favorite book is Pride and Prejudice, is an avid reader. Remember, practice makes perfect. So keep trying until you feel comfortable using whose in your sentences. Well, that wraps up our lesson on using whose in non-defining relative clauses. I hope you found this lesson informative and useful. With a bit of practice, you will be able to use whose to create more complex and nuanced sentences in English. Remember, language learning is a journey, and every step you take brings you closer to mastery. Until our next lesson, keep practicing and stay curious.